Let's shift focus to internal politics within the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Now, last week, the U.S. Justice Department and Danco Laboratories, which manufactures the drug mifepristone, called on the Supreme Court to intervene, asking it to remove restrictions over the pill while the lower court continues to review the case. On Friday, the U.S. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito ordered a temporary block on the restrictions until Wednesday evening, but by late Wednesday afternoon, the Supreme Court extended this deadline until Friday, keeping the drug in the market in the interim without any restrictions. The court, which has a 6-3 conservative majority, did not offer an explanation. But what this also brings into light is the entire 6-week kind of regime that has been put in place by Ron DeSantis in Florida when it comes to abortion rights, as abortion rights continue to become a political hot button in the United States in the run-up to the presidential elections. Let's get to our guests. I'm joined by Amy Tarkanian, Republican strategist on the broadcast. Amy, thank you for joining us on CNN News 18. My first question is that the abortion issue, of course, the overturning of Roe v. Wade kind of set the stage for conservative versus liberal politics in the United States on the run-up to the 2024 presidential elections. What is Ron DeSantis' game plan with that 6-week regime?
Well, he's going to have to walk a very fine line. Obviously, he's the governor of Florida. He has to represent his citizens first and work with his legislative branch first. But once he decides to run for a national position, such as president of the United States, he's now going to have to do what many consider a dirty word. He's going to have to compromise. He's going to have to listen. I'm pro-life. But guess what happened? As you mentioned, in the midterm election, Republicans actually, we lost pretty big. And it was because the Democrats pushed, the fact that Roe v. Wade was something of major concern to many voters, that, they were fearful of Republicans wanting to remove reproductive rights or possibly take away or eliminate abortion rights. And so even though I am pro-life, I can tell you, I know many people, Republican, independent, Democrats, that maybe they aren't in favor of full-term abortion, but they may be able to, be okay with something such as a 15-week abortion. But 6 weeks is a major concern, especially for the pro-choice movement, because many women don't know they're pregnant that early in the pregnancy. And also, because I've been pregnant 4 times myself, I know that, usually your first appointments to the OBGYN aren't until like 10 or 12 weeks in. So 6 weeks is a heartbeat, Bill, which I understand where he's coming from, because when a person passes away, they passed away once their heartbeat stops. And so the argument is once the fetus or the child's heartbeat begins, that's the beginning of life. So I understand the thought process on that. But 6 weeks is a very scary thought to those women who are pro-choice.
Right. And Amy, just decode, what voting patterns have been like when it comes to issues like this, when it comes to the pro-choice versus pro-life argument. Do you think regardless of the line between Democrats and conservatives, between liberals and conservatives, even among the evangelicals, do you think when it comes to female voters, there is a shift towards pro-choice? Because every woman at the end of the day, no matter their politics, want access to, want access to Planned Parenthood. They want access to better healthcare. So when it comes to voting patterns over this entire matter, do you see a tilt towards the pro-choice camp?
Well, I think that we need to have both sides be honest, because, for example, here in the state of Nevada, the people actually voted not once but twice to allow abortions up to 24 weeks. And so, when we have Democrats campaigning here in our state and they're saying that Republicans are going to take this reproductive right away from you, that's being disingenuous. That's a lie. And so we need to do a better job on our side of educating the voters on why the laws are, the way that they are currently today. And if you are somebody who is concerned about, maybe your birth control being taken away, or the drug, as we are just now discussing, mifepristone being, no longer accessible, which also helps women go through miscarriages, so I think that we probably, and once again, I'm pro-life, but I'm also somebody who knows that these procedures are never going to go away. So we need to come to terms and come to an agreement on what line are we not willing to cross, and maybe work well with those who still want to have this accessibility to different procedures for abortion.
Right. And in your
I
opinion,
think that's where you'll find the majority of citizens, to be honest, out here in the United States of America, despite party affiliation.
Right. And that's my point. In your opinion, among the red states itself, after the overturning of Roe v. Wade and those trigger laws were put into place, right after Roe v. Wade was overturned and many red states passed those anti-abortion laws, is there a divide emerging within the Republican Party, among the red states as well, in the run-up to the 2024 presidential elections, because Republicans sense that they need to be at the center of this issue instead of being on the right side of this issue?
Yes, I would think so. I would think that, you're going to have those who are very extremely pro-life, and there is no exceptions. And that group is never going to dissipate as well, just as the pro-choice movement will never dissipate. So that's why I think it's so important that we actually have these conversations on where can we draw the line. And when you see a primary election taking place, which is so much different from a general election, because a general election, you'll see Democrats and Republicans that once were catering to the far left and the far right, and the party devoted, the ones with actually the more extreme positions, I guess is what you would call it, then they have to pivot towards more the center when it's time to have to cater to all of the voters for the general. So I think that Republicans really have an uphill battle in this particular area, especially just coming out of the midterms, where we saw that the Democrats were very successful on scaring the voters into the abortion issue and saying that Republicans were going to take it away. It was enough for a number of independents and nonpartisans to come out very strongly against Republicans.